The second Beatitude challenge. Blessed are those who mourn. Can we face losses rather than just swallow them? If we swallow them, they get bigger. I went by your table about climate change. We keep swallowing it, and you know what? It's not going to make it better, it just makes it worse. Anything we swallow grows. It's got an energy that goes undercover and grows inside ourselves too. So, the challenge of aging. Can you grieve the loss and move fully into what you still can do? Little story of Oli and Lars. They met. Lars was saying to Oli, "Oh, Oli, I've sure gotten old. I've had 2 bypass surgeries. I've had a hip replacement. I got new knees. I'm half blind. I can't hear anything quieter than a jet engine. I take 40 medications. They make me dizzy, winded, subject to blackouts. My stomach makes the same noises as a coffee maker. I've got bouts with dementia. I can't remember whether I'm 85 or 92. You know, I can hide my own Easter eggs. We could never find them. I never eat leftovers because I can't ever remember what was left over. I can't see beyond my nose, but thank God I still have my driver's license." There's someone who's moving into what he can fully do, or not fully do, but at least trying. Grieving, yes, and then move into where you can still move. So how do we do that? Well, our Beatitudes again. Blessed. What's important is what's inside us, not outside us. Makarios, everything outside us can be difficult and diminishing. We find the Spirit inside us. That's where there's life. Mourn. It's not just the little ones. In the Beatitudes, it's the biggest losses. Penthane is the loss of a child. Rachel, mourning for her lost ones. We have that little phrase that comes in with the Holy Innocents. God seems to move especially where there's grief. Can we find that place of deep grief so that we find a God loving us, being with us there? Or is that the place where we tend to overlook because it's so big? Penthane. The loss of a child was the greatest loss that a Hebrew person could have. It was your whole future. Those who would take care of you, everything. Your dream. They didn't have so much an afterlife. They lived on in their children. Can we face those that are the deepest ones? Those are the ones you want to just swallow, pretend they're not there. And then what happens when you do? Comforted. You shall be comforted. Comforted comes from 2 words. Come with strength. And in the Hebrew, it's parakaleo. It sounds like paraclete, because that's the root for paraclete. The paraclete comes with strength. That's the Spirit. Where do you need strength to keep going? That's what this Beatitude promises. You find the Spirit, you can find this place where you're strong. Where parakaleo means to come close. Call close. This God is right there, as close as can be, giving you that strength. So, how do we do that? One thing is, look at the people who are doing it. My fear as I age is being like my mother, who had Alzheimer's. So when I can't remember names, which is getting much more frequent, when I can't remember some fact that I should be able to remember, I go into this tailspin. What's next? I look at the loss rather than where God is with me in the loss. I can go right under. What am I going to forget next? And it's getting more and more frequent. I have to face limits. I've taught for 33 years. I'm not going to be teaching this next year. 80 I could or couldn't. If there's other people that can do it better than I. Teach spirituality. And move into what I can do. I can do spiritual direction, I can give retreats. I can't give a 4-day retreat at Demontreville, but I can give 2 talks a day here.
Okay.
Move into what I can do. Grieve what I can't, move into what I can. And grateful for the present moment. My mother taught me that the gift of Alzheimer's is you don't live in the past, you can't remember it. You don't live in the future. You live in the present. Whatever is in the present moment, can I enter fully into it with gratitude? Because whatever is going to come in the future just comes as another present moment. And if I can be grateful for this one, I have a better chance of being grateful for the next one. So the whole thing of gratitude for the present. And then learning from those who have been my teachers. My mother. I took care of her for 5 years. I'd go under all the time. And the time I'd go under a lot was she'd get fixated on something and just keep asking about it. Plant. She'd bring that to me and say, where does this go? I'd say, hey, that goes right over there on the windowsill where it's happy. Just leave it right over there. But guess what? She remembers that for 1 minute. Here comes the plant saying, oh, that me again. Oh, that one goes over there. Let's give it a little water so it knows it's really happy right there. It's fine. It's doing fine. Give it a little water. Guess what? Here it comes again. All day long, she'd have that plant coming at me. Because what I didn't realize was that she was saying, I like this plant. I don't feel I'm growing. Something's wrong with me. But she couldn't say it in words. She just had to say it with the plant. So when something like that happens, what I would do is get her focused. And the one way to get her focused was the rosary. So I said, it's time to say the rosary. And I had it on tape. So it'd be 30 minutes. They prayed slowly. That was great. And all she had to do was say the Hail Marys or the Holy Mary. She could choose either one. So I said, now it's time to say the rosary. And you could pray for me. Oh, I'd love to do that. Okay, good. So I turned on the tape. What I usually do is do something to get on my feet. I go out in the garden. So just as I was going out the door, she stands up and she says, what do I do with this? She had forgotten how to say a rosary. I thought, no, what do I have that's going to focus her again? I got nothing. At least we could have the rosary and I'd have 30 minutes of freedom. So what I do when I get into something like that and get desperate, I do what this Beatitude says you should have done at the start. Find this God who's with you in this new loss. So I just usually write what I'm feeling, put it all down. It's like the disciples on the road to Emmaus. They just share their grief. Crazy women, they think this guy is risen. We got out of there as fast as we could. So here's my letter to Jesus. Jesus, Mom is staggering toward death. She's becoming an empty shell, whittled away by strokes. She got these little TIAs that would knock another piece out of her. Every other minute she's asking, what do I do now? Am I doing it right? I scream yes, because these are really my questions. I don't know what's the right to do now. I get so drained as I make a home where she gave me a home, but she can't even find her own bathroom. When are you going to take her home? Till then, how am I to be at her side? When she suffers, I suffer 10 times more, because she doesn't know 1/10 of her own confusion. And now she's so confused that she can't remember how to say a rosary. She just holds her beads and cries. I hold her as she sobs, but I need someone to hold me. Where are your arms? It's putting down all those ways I'm grieving. Get it all on paper, otherwise it just grows inside. It makes me more desperate. And then when I do that, I need to get in touch with that spirit. Where am I grateful? I go back to holding my nephew John, or someplace where I can experience how I'm loved, right where I am. Not just there's 2 stages to the spiritual life. The first one is if I pray, the problem will go away. That doesn't work. The second stage is if I pray, the problem will remain, but it won't be a problem that where I can't grow. I will be able to grow right there. I will be comforted. So get in touch with this God that's with me in this. And then I write the words that are the most loving words, because God is always love. And whatever matches that love, that's what Jesus is saying to me. Here's the letter I got back from Jesus. Matt, you can always write the first word. It's your name. I will heal the ways you feel overwhelmed only if you hold me when you are overwhelmed. Let me be your brother caring for our mother. Hey, I'm not in this all alone. Breathe in from me what you need. I too feel the pain you feel as you watch her suffer. I'll end her suffering with a risen body. Soon she'll know every action you did for her will intercede with you forever. But first, she must be here to teach you how to nurture. How to love another who can't return love. That plant that comes 30 times a day. How to persevere. How to receive when you've got no more to give. She's teaching you that everything is gift and that what's here today is gone tomorrow. Take time each morning when overwhelmed to be filled as you center in my love. That's what I had to keep doing. And doing that dialogue. Wherever I was mourning and feeling lost, how is God, Jesus, there loving me? And that's how I could keep going for 5 years. And it dawned on me, especially what Jesus is saying here. My real fear wasn't how long my mother would go through this. I had the fear that she'd have one of these TIAs on a weekend when I had to travel, and then what do I do? No, my real fear, it was deeper than what's going to happen next for her, was when will it happen to me? Is this going to be my path? And she was here to teach me, if it is my path, how to go through it. And each day, whatever helped, file it away. That's for me. I already told you one of them. She would walk around all night until we Focus on what you're grateful for and send her to bed with that. That became part of my life, still is. She taught me that. And what a difference it's made. All night long, I get life. And especially wherever I'm feeling that whole thing of, where are you, God? That doesn't grow during the night. It's where God is with me that grows through the night when I'm into gratitude and sleeping on it, and then getting into it in the morning. Where is God? Right there with me. And she taught me how to enjoy the present moment. That's all she had. Last meal I gave her was ice cream. Because with Alzheimer's, you get to where you can't swallow. And she couldn't feed herself or do anything. But that was her favorite food. I put some ice cream in her tongue. Oh! She just enjoyed it. She might not be able to feed herself. But what she could still do was taste that ice cream. She was teaching me how in the present moment, no matter what's happening, you have a choice. You can be grateful and look at what you still can do, or you can be going down that whole route of I wish I could, wish I wish. And all that does is just build more mourning, more grief, more loss, more emptiness. She just taught me how to do that. The one other thing that would help was music. I made a cassette with all the songs that brought her peace. And yeah, she couldn't do the rosary, but she could listen to those. And you know what I found? Those are the ones that brought me peace too. It was like her gift to me. I still have that. I bring it with me. I could go on, but the basic point is we got all these teachers around us that as they go through loss and are going through it, teach us how to go through loss and whatever works for them can work for us. With my mother, I'd take her on retreats. If it was a place I could drive to, like Milwaukee. And on the way, she thought that she thought she was helping me, that I was always getting lost. So she'd read every sign on the highway toward me, to me. Burger King, 3 miles. Burger King, 2 miles. On the left. Burger. And I try to say to her, look, I can read the signs. Just you watch for the speed limit ones, the ones that are, and make sure that I'm going less than that, because I don't want the police chasing me. You can do that. Well, that worked for about 10 seconds. Burger King! Oh my Lord. I'd be hearing, I counted the signs. Within a mile, there were 9 signs. Every mile had an average of 9 signs that would be read to me in a loud voice, like, this is really important or you're going to get lost. Holy mackerel. I thought, I'm going to just be worn out by a few miles of signs. So I just prayed. I did this thing again. Lord, how can I keep going? She thinks she's really helping me. All she's doing is torturing me with sign after sign after sign. Loud voice, so that, as if I really need that one. And I just got the sense Jesus was saying to me, the day will come when she can't recognize signs and she won't recognize you. Just be grateful. She still knows you. Wow. That just changed everything. It was like her reading signs was the whole way that God was still with her and loving me. And would love me if I were reading signs like that. Retreats, I'd put her in the back, in the corner. And I tell people on the retreat, that's my mother. she's here for two things. One is she loves saying her rosary. This is when she could still do it. So anything you want prayer for, you just go back and tell her what you want prayer for. Well, she loved that. And then I said, the other thing that she's really good at is giving hugs. So just go back and collect the hug. You know what? She had longer lines than I did. Everybody wanted to tell her what they wanted prayer for and get a hug. In fact, she got it in her head that the reason I took her on retreats was that so she could give the retreat. Because she did all the work while I got up there and I just talked once in a while. And that, I think, was really true. She would just show people how she was there, loving God, loving them. You know, how you can get through anything. She was this whole icon. How do you mourn what you can't do and move into what you can do? And they caught it. And she taught me that with Alzheimer's, you have to... words are confusing. I'd explain things to her and she'd just get more confused. The one thing that worked was just to go and hold her and hug her. There's something about touch that would go deeper than words could go in that scrambled world. And that's what she taught me. Get beyond words into that silence where you're just loved with whatever's going on. This stuff doesn't have to be center stage. How is the Spirit there? Hugging. And just breathe it in and out. Can you be loved right where you are and not when the problem goes away? Just where you are. Wow. So I could go on and on about my mother. Nursing home. I'm learning the same thing. I'm a slow learner. It takes a whole bunch of ways to teach me this stuff. Who's the person that I don't want to be? I told you about Henry. He doesn't have any limbs, can't feed himself, dress himself. It was hard for me just to get close to him. And he's the one that just brought me through that with his smile. He could find a God right there comforting him. Henry came, he wasn't even Catholic. He came just because he loved Jesus. And one day, he said to me, I want to become a Catholic. Well, Henry's in his 90s and he's kind of, he doesn't track very well. So he's not a candidate for the RCIA. So I said to him, Henry, how come you want to become a Catholic? He says, I love Jesus. I want to receive Jesus. I said, Henry, you know what? Whenever I'm the priest, I'm going to give you communion. Because Jesus loves you. And he wants to be right inside you. As close as he can be to you. He taught me. No limbs, nothing else. How much he's loved. And how much Jesus is right there for him. I can't deny him Jesus. He's already there. So that's what... Where do I mourn? Where do I grieve? Where do I want to be distant? That's the place where God is healing me. If I can get in touch with that. COVID. Bill was 70 days on a respirator. That's the place I don't want to be, a ventilator. You can't talk. You can't eat. You have your hands tied down because you just want to yank that thing out of you and what it's doing to your throat. He had 70 days of that. I went in to anoint him. I could hardly get close to him. I didn't want to be like him in that bed. And as I just prayed, I just felt how Jesus loves him just the way he is. Couldn't love him more. And as I went to anoint him, you touched the person. He grabbed my hand. And he pulled it right to where his other hand was, and he just started stroking my hand. Here he was. He had all that love inside to give. Even when he was 70 days on that respirator. He's where I would never want to be. He would just kept stroking my hand. That healed something very, very deep inside me. There's always a place where God is. Find it, receive it. God's always there, comforting. Nothing can separate us from the love in Christ Jesus. Paul goes through a whole bunch of stuff. Every scary thing he can think about. I'm convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither anything in the present nor the future, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all of creation will ever be able to separate me from the love of God in Christ Jesus. This God is always there. It's just a matter of finding and receiving. And I have all these teachers. Bill, Henry, the people at St. Therese, teaching me how it's a reality. My mother. So that's what this Beatitude is. What are you grieving? Can you name it and be loved in it? Otherwise, you swallow it and it just grows. It becomes a bigger fear. Or it becomes an anger that you grows inside and you lash out at people that are doing the same thing. It's the place where we can become closest to God. Because that's the place where we need God most. We've got this deep hunger to be loved right there. Back to my mother. She taught me right to the moment that she died how to do this. She was in a coma in the hospital. I came to visit. And I held her hand and I felt all this love for her. She couldn't do anything. All the ways that her hands had served me, now they couldn't do anything. And you know, I just felt all this love. A love for her that loved her just because she was my mother. Not because she could do anything, just because she was who she was. Even when she was in a coma. And I just said to her, as I was holding her hand, feeling all that love, I just said to her, I love you so much, Mom. And then I went to leave. And just as I got to the door, I heard this voice saying, I love you too, dear. She hadn't spoken for 3 weeks. She couldn't put a sentence together. But there's so much love there. It found words. And it was for me to know this. Comas, grief, whatever is the loss, love is bigger. Nothing ever stops that love that's there in Christ Jesus. So I said to her, I said, look, you're on your way home. Doctors say you're going to die tonight. Nurses said she was going to die that night. You know, nurses know this stuff. The day before, when she could still move, she was going like this in her room. What's that? Nurses had told me a long time ago. That happens 2 or 3 days before a person dies. They start to see the people on the other side that are there for them. And then nurses know then, they asked me to come and anoint this person. They say they're going to die in a couple of days. You might as well do it now. And they're right. They know that person's on their way. You got all these people comforting them. So I thought, hey, let's see if we can figure them out. So when she'd point to one, I would name different names of those who are on the other side. Her dad, nothing on that one. Her mother, no. Her husband, Leonard, ooh, got that one. Then we go on to the next one. All the communion of the saints there, comforting. That love never ever ends. So I told her, you're ready to go out to the Lord. But you know what? My brother Dennis he's in Denver, and he needs 2 days to come to drive. You can wait for him, or you can go home tonight. Doctors say you're going to go home tonight. That's fine. You're ready. The Lord's there for you. Guess what?
She waited.
2 days, you got it. She waited. She died an hour after Dennis had come and said everything he wanted to say. And she squeezed his hand. That's a mother's love. God has to love us that much and 1,000,000 times more. Whatever we're going through, nothing can separate us from the love of God. And that's what this Beatitude proclaims. Name what you feel is separating you. And then connect with this love that nothing can separate you from. And then it's inside you to do the same with others who are right there in need. You can be that comforted. You are the Spirit. You're not just one who receives. When you receive, you have it inside you. You can be the Bill holding a hand and stroking. So that's why this Beatitude is so key. It enters into those deep places where we have loss and turns it into deep gift. Where we have to find a love that's bigger than the loss, we have to find a big love. And then we have that compassion in our heart for those who suffer the same. My mother, when she couldn't speak, and me, when I can't remember a name or something, I have a choice. Go under or go into compassion. When I can't remember a word or a name or something like that, first of all, I'm grateful for Google, because Google remembers everything I can't remember. What did we do before we had Google, you know? But the second thing is, it gets me in touch with others who are struggling the same. I have great compassion for the Spanish-speaking people that I say Mass for. When I can't remember a word, that's their reality. Word after word after word. Can it connect me with God? Can it connect me with others who are going through the same thing? Can it make me grateful for what I have and move fully into what I can still do? That's what this Beatitude does. So, I'm just going to show you one person who's doing it, who's dealing with aging and finding gift in it. And then we'll just do a little prayer. This just makes it more real. Let's see. Which one do I want? Here we go.
we are, just 2 seconds into this story, and some of you may have already made some assumptions about our subject, Maury Forrester. But the students here at Coulter Grove Intermediate School near Knoxville, Tennessee,
All right.
say be wary of that first impression.
Hey guys, you never know what people have done.
I was surprised. It makes you wonder, like, how did he get here?
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
77-year-old Maury Forrester was part of the team that helped put a man on the moon.
0-0.
During the Saturn and Apollo programs, he worked for a subcontractor that designed crucial launch components.
0. Your go.
I look at it now, I'm amazed that it happened. It was so complex and so involved, and there were so many people.
His certificates and awards could fill a corner office. And yet here he is in a broom closet, a highly trained electromechanical designer on the business end of a mob.
In 2014, Maury suffered a stroke, or something like it. Doctors aren't quite sure, but the result was clear. A major loss of cognitive function. Maury says it was humbling and humiliating, but he knew if he wanted to keep on living, he had to keep on working.
He originally took this job solely for the exercise, but over the last few months, he has become an integral part of this school community.
I just love it. They're happy to see me, and I'm happy to see them. I've gotten to care very much for them. Thank you guys.
And the students clearly feel the same. In fact, Maury says they even say, I love you.
Yeah. Just hearing that makes all the difference to me.
Nobody ever said that at NASA?
No, I can remember.
Which leads me to the most astonishing part of this story.
Oh, gosh.
After that, I asked
Hey,
Maury,
guys.
what if by some miracle he got his mind back and could go back to his old job? There was no hesitation.
Yeah, I can't say that or give this up. I'm good. How are you?
Some people never figure out the key to a successful career. But Maury shows it's not rocket science. Steve Hartman, on the road, near Knoxville, Tennessee.
It helps me when I see the reality of it. So close your eyes, put your hand on your heart. Take deep breaths of how God's right there with you in whatever it is that's difficult. Bringing new life, ways you can love more deeply. And where do you struggle? Maybe it's with aging and remembering. Maybe it's something else. What are you not so grateful for? And see which ones come. What are the losses? Things you wish were different. And just breathe in. So you don't just swallow that. You feel the loss. And breathe in out. You're loved right there. Couldn't be loved more. Loved just the way you are. And breathe in how it's that very place where there's loss, where there's a longing for more that connects you with this God. You're longing for more, and only the infinite will fill that. It's a longing for a risen body, for wholeness, for fullness of life. And we feel it most where we struggle to have life. And breathe in how it's a gift of compassion for others who are struggling. When I can't remember a word, it connects me with my Spanish-speaking people who struggle for word after word. And breathe in how you have a gift to move fully into what you still have. How everything is gift. Anything you can do is gift. Not to be taken for granted. And there's still a way of giving and receiving love right there. With my mother who couldn't understand words, it was a hug. Breathe in how you're loved and how you can love. With this God that lives within us. Nothing ever can separate us from that love, from receiving it and sharing it. So, go forth and find those arms that always give you rest. Wherever there's loss, there's God holiness.